project number 6, vocal variety. Our story, stories from a small town. Please bring up Mindy Shafts.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I came from a small town, Freeport, Illinois, founded in 1827. It was a small town, not a tiny town like the farm towns around us, but our small town fed all the tiny towns into our town for schools and for shopping. Our town was known for the second Lincoln-Douglas debate of 1858, and is also known for our school mascot, the pretzels! That has nothing to do with my speech today. You can ask me later why were the pretzels. But anyways, so have you guys ever heard of Children of the Corn?
Yes.
Malachi! Terrified me as a kid. We went to my aunt and uncle's house all the time, and their house was surrounded by cornfields. All of us cousins would get together and play outside, climb trees. They'd want to go running in the cornfield. Not me. I was scared of little children coming after me. Not only that, but the bugs. Bugs everywhere in a cornfield. You would be running and then into a spider web. So yeah, corn, not a good thing. Okay, on to some more stories from my small town. Have you ever heard of Charles Godot? Charles Godot was the gentleman that assassinated President James Garfield in 1858, and then was eventually hung July of 1852, or 1859. He was known as a nutcase. He thought that he was divinely chosen to assassinate President Garfield. His family had a house in Freeport, Illinois, and the rumors were that his body was buried in the basement. I didn't know this as a child. My aunt lived right next door to the Godot house and owned the Godot house. Like I said, I did not know this. My brother and I would be done swimming in her pool. My parents loved, my mom and my aunt would love laying out in the sun, and he who dies with the best tan wins, so they were in the sun all the time. So my brother and I had some free time. We thought it was fun to attempt to go into the basement of the Godot house, not knowing any of these stories. Being a town that was founded in 1827, most of the houses were built in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So just going in the basement, there was unfinished walls, rock floors, spider webs, bugs everywhere. It was scary just going into the basement. We didn't make it very far. We never made it past the basement into the house. There was one time, probably when my aunt was trying to sell a house, we made it into the front door with my parents, of course, and my mom was taking some pictures. When we eventually got the pictures developed, there was a light, bright object in a silhouette of a person coming down the stairs. That's when I started hearing the stories about how this house was haunted. Some of the stories that I've heard and also read about online recently is tenants fleeing in terror because of hearing disembodied sighs, coughs, seeing black figures appearing out of nowhere. One in particular was a couple going up the stairs to check on their daughter in her crib, getting to the door and seeing a black object, black thing above the crib. Chills just thinking about it. Of course, they went screaming out of the house. Ah! Enough get to a house. Let me fast forward 10 more years. I'm out of high school, out of my own, living on my own. My best friend lives across this parking lot from me, and we have a normal Midwest strong storm. So what happens in the Midwest? We get storms, a lot of storms. So she comes running into my house. Mindy, Mindy, Mindy! Whoa, whoa, what happened? She's like, I can't go back to my house. I just can't. What happened? So she tells me that the lights were flickering on and off while that happens. The house was built in the late 1800s. And lights were flickering on and off, so she gets up, lights flicker off, she gets up to go into her kitchen to get a flashlight, well, because you always need to know where the flashlight is during a storm. As she's walking into the kitchen, the lights flash back on, and all of her cupboards were open at 90 degrees. She went running out of that house, my house. And this wasn't the first time she's had a ghostly experience in her house. She's heard, the sighs, the moans, the coughs. Toilet paper roll would be unwound. So she never wanted to go back. She eventually moved out. And I was abducted by aliens. I know, right? Aliens. So here I am, 5 years old, sleeping, cannot move at all. I can't speak. I can't yell for help. I see bright lights coming through the window. I can't move. So I thought all these years that I was actually abducted by aliens. Until a few months ago. Facebook, BuzzFeed, I'm reading an article. Oh, sleep paralysis. Oh, I wasn't abducted by aliens? I'm glad you guys have enjoyed my short stories from my small town. So thank you very much.